Good morning, angels. Today is November 2nd. We've already had one day into our busiest season month, although we've had several of them the last few months, which is such a blessing. Today, I wanted to chat about the integrity of the business and how we can be heavily influential to our team's mindset. Sometimes I don't know if we realize as leaders that people naturally follow our example, even if it's negative. And I think that it's important for us to understand the position we're in order to be conscious of how we present ourselves. And what I mean by that is right now, for instance, as an example, is we're going through a lot of challenges regarding like shipping and things being out of stock. And it's important for us to create the culture that, hi, I see somebody's on the Facebook Live version. So whoever's on, maybe comment below so I know you're there. The way we look at challenges is controllable, okay? We have a choice of how we're going to respond. And when we're in the position of leadership, leadership is a choice. I wanna make sure that you guys understand that you have to choose to be the leader that inspires and influences. We can also choose to do nothing. We could also choose to use leadership example in a negative way. And we can also be honest with ourselves that our perspective of what's negative and what's not is also going to be different for everybody, right? However, when we think about the success and the culture that we're building as leaders, we have to remember that people are watching. That's basically what I'm trying to get to. And so the way you respond to a challenge in the business is going to be definitely looked at and received and duplicated. So for instance, things out of stock. We can focus on what's out of stock, or we can encourage what's still available and focus on what's still available, right? We can look at things being out of stock as a bad thing, or you can choose to look at it as a good thing, meaning our business is a highly demanded business, products that are available. So people want our stuff. So if we focus on that area, that, wow, this stuff sells out fast, our products are in high demand, I'm so grateful to be a part of this business during this time. As we bring new people on, which this is the time that people tend to start jumping on board because they have Christmas lists that they got to fulfill, right? This is our last paycheck before Christmas. So that whatever we do this month is going to affect our Christmas shopping, our expenses for traveling. If you're going to go see family, you're going to be fronting the bill because you're having Christmas and Thanksgiving at your house, whatever. That all costs money, right? So we have to make sure that we are offering the opportunity, first of all, because people that weren't interested or in need last month may realize that they are this month, if that makes sense. So first of all, as leaders, we have to have the mindset that you have something to provide, okay? And that opportunity is a positive thing. Last week on the Monday call at night, the group Monday call, we were talking about sponsoring. And I talked about when we think about bugging people, being embarrassed to give the opportunity, that mindset is a arrows in and it's about me mindset. Because we're worried about, I don't want to bug somebody. I don't want to be embarrassed. Whatever your thing is when your thoughts are pointed in, because the effect is how it affects you. That is an arrows in. But arrows out is about how can this possibility, opportunity, whatever you want to call it, possibly inspire and add value to somebody else. Okay. So if we're looking on at our business that way, it's more likely for us to have less confrontation and issues in our business, right? Again, something sells out of stock fast. We could choose to say that sucks. That's not fair. I work, the other people don't. They have more chances, blah, 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 blah. Or we could think, wow, I am in the right place at the right time. I have a highly demand product and business opportunity. We could also even look at it as my friend joined somebody else's team. That sucks. They can't change sponsors, blah, blah, blah. Or we could look at it as, okay, shame on me because I didn't give the opportunity to my friend, right? That's the only way we can truly grow in this business, because your business only grows as far as you do. So if we continue thinking about the poor me, not fair, this sucks concept, there's no way to truly grow, right? Because you can't add to your life and your business if you're focusing on what is not or what you don't have. But when you do focus on things that you do have and say, okay, I'm grateful for this situation, this experience, because it taught me a lesson that I have to offer to everybody, even people that I think don't need it, right? Because here's the thing, guys. We talked about it again. And I know that one thing I want to just make sure that we're clear on, you're gonna hear the same concepts, the same, basically the same concepts over and over and over. And it doesn't matter what training call you're on, you're going to have the same things come up. But what's gonna happen is we're gonna have to ask ourselves, am I truly following those examples? Am I truly am I learning from what I'm hearing? Instead of saying, I know this, I've heard this, and tuning it out, instead saying, wait a minute, what am I actually implementing? What am I actually learning? Because here's the thing, guys, we're human. That's one of our biggest flaws, failures in life is being human. There's always that side that we're going to make mistakes. We're going to go down the poor me, route. We're going to go down the not fair. Well, I guess it's the same thing. But we can also choose to catch ourselves. Okay. Once we're aware of the consequences of our mindset, we can always choose to catch it from going further, right? So today's talk is basically about understanding how much your mindset influences other people. And I know that we're an independent business owner. We don't have any bosses. We don't have any supervisors. We're not supervisors or bosses of our teams. However, we are influencers. So if you stop and think for a second and really ask yourself, I really want you to just stop and say, do I look at myself? Do I really think that I'm an influencer? Do I really think that other people are watching and following my lead? If your answer is no, then we definitely need to do some coaching, connect with your director, myself, because we have to get you there. Because if you're not in that mindset, it's almost impossible for you to get to the next level. Now, with that being said, just so he says two sides, right? You could fall into that next level, but is it going to be easy for you to sustain that? And is it going to benefit you, right? Probably not. So until you have the correct mindset of, I truly understand the position that I'm in, and that even if I don't think I'm all that or whatever, I know the answers or whatever, because here, again, something else you hear all the time, we don't and never will know all the answers, okay? But we can choose to support and choose to hash through the troubleshooting with our teams. That's really what we're there for, is to be there, support, and hash out. Hi, Cindy. Good morning. Hi, Melissa. Now, here's the thing. I'm talking to a bunch of leaders, right? Many of you are like, again, preaching to the choir, Jess, right? But we have to understand that we have to also, because here's the thing. I coach you guys, right? What happens after that? It's vital for you to be doing these same type of conversations with your teams. The reason why is because if your team's mindsets aren't in the right place, your business will not grow. And if it grows because it's just kind of organic, it doesn't mean it's going to be healthy, right? We want retainability. We want people to stay with you and grow with you. You can have 100 team members, but if 80 of them don't have the right mindset, how far is your business going to grow, and how significant is your financial position going to grow? You're going to feel like you're drowning, right? You're going to feel discouraged. You're going to look at these numbers and say, what the heck is this even possible, right? It's going to be very hard to stay encouraged. I'm sorry, my daughter's calling me. She never calls me during school. Just give me 1 second. Yes, Allie, I'm in a meeting. Are you okay? It's okay. All right, sweetheart, I will do that, but I'm in the middle of a meeting. I love you, okay? It's all right, bye-bye. Very important situations. Her new bed sheets showed up at the door and she wants to make sure I get them. I apologize, guys. But that was important to her apparently, so that was her emergency. Anyways, okay. So what I'm really talking about, first of all, there are some of you leaders, this is really impacting. Some of you are saying, whoa, I've never looked at my business that way. Whoa, I've never looked at myself that way. So those of you that I'm preaching to the choir, that this is all not news to you, you're very aware. Now I want you guys to think of, how healthy is my organization? How much communication and connection have I had with the majority of my team members? So this is something I want you guys to think about that maybe you've never realized. If this isn't you, it's very likely many people on your team, it is, okay? When somebody starts to build a team, their first team member, maybe their first 5 team members, because they don't have the title director or superstar consultant or even star consultant, because those are all, there's a significance of effort and business actions that have to happen to get to star, and definitely a huge jump to get to superstar and then director, right? So what the majority of people are thinking is that's their team. That's their front line. So they aren't reaching out to those people as they grow. I mean, as they come on board. They're thinking it's not my job, that's theirs. That's their team. I don't know how I want to say this without, there have been directors that still consider the people in their downline their frontline's team. Okay. Now, the way the business goes, once you hit director, that's your team. That's your team. Everybody in your downline, it's your team. Okay. Okay. So Cindy says, I have a few that do not want to let me bring up the comments, to coach or be mentored. Okay. That's Melissa. I'm sorry. And then I have a few people, I reach out to them and no one wants to coach or be mentored. Okay. I have a few that do not want to build business yet. Okay. So that's never going to change. That's never going to change. But what I want you all to think about is, am I making the effort? If you are, like Melissa says, I reach out to people and ask, do they want to be coached? They want to be mentored, and they say no. So, but did Melissa do her job? Yes. She reached out and she made sure that there's in her organization that there is, that they know that she's there. They know that if they want more, they have somebody to go to. Okay. The problem is, or I'm not gonna say problem, the challenge is if there's people in your organization, whether it's 2 people or 20 or 100, that don't know that, okay? Now, you guys all know that people can show up to many coachings with me. Every email has a link to if you want to coach by Jess, you can be coached by Jess. Every Monday night they have me. They can connect with me. It's not an unknown thing that Jess is very open to doing coaching and connecting one-on-ones. But let me tell you why the majority of people still don't do it, okay? One, their mindset is still in the outside world, is that Jess is at the top. I don't want to bug her. I don't feel adequate enough to connect with her. I don't know what I want, so I don't want to waste her time, okay? You guys all know I'm just Jess. The title is not significant at all, okay? It's just a title. But some people when they're going into the Scentsy world, they've never had the atmosphere of I'm my own boss and I have to reach out if I want more, okay? Hi, Janice, welcome. I hope you're feeling good today. So we have to think about, have I made the actions to reach out to all of my downline? Okay, a lot of, some of you guys we've had this conversation with recently, but I want you guys to be having the conversations with your team as well. Because here's the thing, we are the leaders of the majority of our organizations, right? We're the ones that are going to be doing the majority of the business, the majority of the heavy hitting, the sales, the sponsoring, the training. However, the only way you're going to grow a business that you're going to significantly be able to rely on a significant amount of income is that people in your organization are training, okay? One of the biggest issues in the last 3 years that what happened with my business, as big as it already was, is the majority of my leaders were not leading because Jess stopped leading in a lot of ways. Just stayed committed to Monday nights, but was the conversations being made? No, about coaching, mentoring, training, supporting. Okay, so I don't want that to happen, and I don't want you guys to think that your business is going to grow. Now, again, it can grow organically. Just people sponsor. They don't know what the heck they're doing. They don't even know why they're sponsoring. Just like, yeah, come on board. I don't know what that means, but cool. You might have somebody that sponsors like a maniac, but if they don't have the right mindset, it's going to be, your team can go from 5 to 35, but if all 30 people don't have the correct mindset of what that means and what the business structure is, it's going to be pointless. Nina says, do you have a top what to discuss in one-on-one meetings? Right now, I have no format. It's just based on what they want to discuss. Good question. Okay. And Melissa says, I love to bug you because she knows she's not bugging me. That's why. Yes, the answer is yes. So that's funny that you asked that. So there's a specific coaching model that has been proven to be successful with myself as well as many other leaders. Now, I'm going to be very transparent, which I always am with you guys, because I want you guys to know that vulnerability is a strength, and showing it to your team is a strength. I will tell you, at one point in my business, I thought that weaknesses, me not knowing something, not having the answer, was a weakness of a leader. That is absolutely incorrect, because if you know everything, you are not duplicatable. Okay, people are not going to want to be you or in your position. They're not going to want what you have. Okay, just get that out of your mind. If you look like you've got too much going on, you're too busy, you know too much, and you do too much, they're not going to want to be you, or they're going to think that they can't be you. So I want you to ask yourself right now, is there anybody in your organization that's ever said to you, I can't do what you do. I don't know how to do what you do, and I don't think I want to. Or you're too, you know too much, or I don't know enough like you do. Those type of comments means there's something that you're doing that is not duplicatable, and we need to work on that. Again, just I feel like I'm talking to the third person a lot today, but but I'm guilty of it too, guys, because again, there's that human side. We want, and our hearts are so big, we want to provide, so we think we have to provide the answers. It's a natural just response. The mindset that I used to have is, well, I do this full time, they don't, they have a job, they don't have time to look through things that I do. So if I narrow it down and I find the answer for them, just give it to them, then they can be more successful. That's not the case, guys. If they want this, they're gonna make the time to find the answers so they can be independent and not have to rely on you. And that's what they want. That's what you want in your business. Let me catch up on these comments really fast before we start with the coaching model. Melissa says, one of my newest teamies did that. She joined and sponsored 3 immediately and quit. Her girls quit too. Yep. That's happens so often, is that if the person that sponsors them is not engaged and doesn't find any type of win in the business, they don't hit shooting star, they don't hit sensational start, they don't get a paycheck that is more than just paying them back from the kit. If they don't see any significance that adds value to the business, they will quit, and their team will think, well, if she can't do it, I can't, so I'm just going to quit with you. That's the unfortunate response that the majority of people have. That's such a fine line. I always tell people that what I do brings me joy and nothing is required, and they don't have to do those things. So communication is key. So that's great that you do that. And here's the thing, 2 sides to everything, guys. We could be as transparent and tell them, you don't have to do this, whatever. And they still quit. And then on the other side, there's going to be some people that just need a disclaimer. They just need you to say, you don't have to do this, to make them feel like, okay, all right. If I don't have to do that, I'm good. I'm willing to, do my own thing. There's always 2 people, right? So disclaimers are important, but it doesn't mean they're still going to stick around. Okay. There's only certain things that we can control. And if we check off the things that we're able to control, we did our job, right? Everything else is up to them. I have a few that know I do events and have said I can't do that or spend that much energy. Okay. Good question. Events are a lot of work. Let's just get that out of the way, right? Anybody that's done an event knows that it's a lot of work. It's a short amount of time for a lot of work that gets a lot of results. But people, if they don't have that short amount of time, if they can't spend the weekend from, 7 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, from arriving to breaking down and leaving the event at 8 o'clock at night, that is daunting to them, right? So, which I'm sure Cindy's done, is explaining that's my thing. That's what I've chosen that works for my business and my lifestyle. Cindy has a full-time job. She's a very high up in her organization. She leads a lot of people. She's got a very high demanding job. So she doesn't have time to do the sit and sniffs here and there 5 times a day in different places, right? So she's got to hit a lot of people at one time on the weekend. So she's found her niche where Scentsy can be strong for her while she has her full-time gig. Now, there's going to be people that still don't want to do that, right? They don't want to give up their weekends. But if there's people that want to grow their business and they want to be able to focus hardcore in one place and still not have maybe they don't want to set up a side gig, meaning sit and sniff after work. They want to just not think of anything. They want solely family time, which is their choice, right? Which is what Scentsy believes in, having family time first. So maybe Cindy might be able to discuss that and say, so what is it about? What is it about what I do that you think you can't do or you think you don't want to do? Questions are everything, because they have their own preconceived thoughts. They may be completely wrong, or I'm not gonna say wrong, but they may be completely misunderstanding. And it's all, usually, you guys, it's a matter of lack of information. That's it. Why they don't want to join, why they don't want to host, why they don't want to buy, why they don't want to do events, why they don't want to grow a team. It's all because it's a lack of information. And it's preconceived information. So that's where coaching comes in. Okay, let me read this last one. Melissa says, she hit shooting star, she hit certified in the first month. She was making good money. Someone must have been in her ear. You know what? Yeah, again, two sides. That's another example of two sides. I can tell you that if they statistically, if they do the shooting star, they get off to a sensational start. Statistically, they tend to go on. But then there are those people that don't. I mean, let's face it, guys, people get to superstar director and still it's not for them and they quit. So there's always those exceptions. That's why I want you guys to realize there's no cut and dry anything in this business. There are statistics that we can go by, but we have to understand that there's always another side, right? We have to lead with statistics that is majority of what happens, but we have to be okay with there's going to be that small percentage that it doesn't matter if they are outgoing, they know a lot of people, they know the product well, they, whatever, they just line up like the cookie cutter Scentsy consultant that's going to be successful, which we all know there's no cookie cutter, but on the surface, it looks like this person's going to be amazing. And then they do nothing. Or, which we talked about before, the person that you think that, I have no idea what they're going to do. I don't know anything about them. I don't know their background, nothing. And they end up being a rock star from the get-go. And then there's other people that do nothing for a long time. And then all of a sudden their circumstances change and all of a sudden they become rock stars. So we have to be okay with their journey, guys. That's the point, is we have to be okay with that journey. I'm going to actually invite you guys to, holy crap, let me make sure. Oh shoot, where's my phone? I'm on a director's leadership training today that it's only for directors, but I am allowed 11:30. Oh, 10:30. I literally have to get off. Let's see. What is MST? No, it's 11:30. I'm good. I'm sorry. I hate I really hate oh, it's another one that I don't have to be on. Oh, sorry. I don't like back-to-back meetings, but today was one. But the one that I thought I was going on to, I don't have to be on. Anyways, I'm going to be on a training. It's called the, what's it called? I will post the link that, it's called Powerful Headquarters. Okay. And it's just for directors and above, but the people that showed up live to Zoom, I'm going to message you the link that you're invited because you took time to show up today. Okay. You know that Jess loses my train of thought easily, so give me 1 second. Okay, basically what I'm trying to say is that there's always going to be another side. Okay. The only thing that we can do is control, is know what we can control and know that what we can't. And what we can control is our effort to offer. One thing that Orville Thompson said to me early on in my business, I reached out to him because my business was growing fast, and you know how genuine our owners are. I wrote him a very extensive letter, very explaining to him what my struggles were, what my questions are. And instead of just emailing me back, he gave me a phone call. So it was like the highlight of my, career at that point. And spoke with me very extensively about a lot of subjects that I asked. But one of the things that I want to share with you is that he said, all we can do is invite. We can invite them to join, host, buy. We can invite them to coach and mentor. And we can invite them to even know us, get to know us on a personal level. That is the only thing we can control, you guys, the invitation. So are you inviting for them to join, for them to host, for them to buy? And once they're on board, are you inviting them to get to know you on a personal level? You have the choice of how personal, you know what I mean? You might say, I really don't want to get to know them on a personal level, except for just, for business reasons. But I'm going to tell you guys, if you don't create relationships with your team on a personal level to an extent, it's going to be very hard for you to mentor and coach them. Because here's something I can share. The people that have grown the most in this business, I've had the strongest relationships with on a personal level. Because here's the actual truth. Scentsy's a slam dunk, guys. There's no fault or failure in our business. It is a slam dunk business. The only thing that gets in the way of success and the next, whatever that level, whatever success in their brain is, your brain is, but also moving to the next level, is personal challenges that stop them from seeing the opportunity and acting on the opportunity. So when you see a rock star, like Melissa just said, she did all the things and then she dropped off, she pegged it perfectly. That would be my explanation, or whatever I would think went wrong, is something happened personally. Either people in her, said something bad about Scentsy or direct sales and made her feel like, oh, I don't want to feel that way or whatever. Or maybe her husband and her got in an issue, whatever. There's something personally happened. Now, Nina, you're a director, so it is open for you to be on that if you can. It's in an hour. It's at 11:30 our time. I encourage you if you can. It's going to be recorded though, so if you can, that'd be great. Melissa, yeah, it is for just directors, but I have the ability to invite you if I want to. And since I'm the guest speaker, I'm inviting you guys if you can make it. Okay, I'm going to be talking about team promotions. Give me a second to kind of mold into this really fast. We're at 10:30, so we're already 30 minutes in. There's always going to be, this is where I was at. Do you know when you're on the profile, let me share just in case you guys are visual people like I am. So I'm going to be going into your workstation, not yours, but mine. I just have to really fast, take some columns off so you guys don't know who I'm in. All right. Really fast. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna pull myself. That's because I'm fine with you guys seeing mine. All right. So when you go into performance tab, right? You click Start Leadership Report. Okay. And then you click directly on that person. So let me share. All right, so you guys should all see my demographics. Can I get a thumbs up if you all see me, my profile? Okay. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to 2017. All of you guys are very familiar with what happened in 2017 that are life. I had a very life-challenging change in my business, okay? So this is, let's do PRV for me. Okay, so this is the month my brother passed away. All right, I want to go to, then you could see February of 2020. So if I were looking at my team member, and let's just say that, because we're not usually going to go back that many years, but I'm using this for a specific example, that if I was looking at me as my leader was looking at me and saying, okay, what happened that year that it's such a significance in production? Let's just say that 17 was last year, okay? This for example. I see there's something significantly different, okay? This may be not a tragedy or anything. It could be I just wasn't as into my business. My focus was different. But when you see a jump from 741 to 2000, that is going to peg you of saying, okay, that's a good change. And then we want to talk to them about it. Hey, oh my gosh, your year over year from last year for PRV was substantially different. What's going on, or what was going on back then that wasn't going on then, but that is now? We need to ask those questions. If my sponsor, who's very disconnected to me, I haven't heard from her in years, if she looked at that, she might have said, or even let's just go to 2018, the difference. I mean, that's when I was kind of waking up a little bit, but you still see that there was a little bit of growth happening, right? Significantly different in 2018 in my PRV, because this was, my focus was everything but Scentsy. My focus was myself, healing myself. And if my sponsor wanted to know, she would have been able to find that out about me. So Jess, I noticed such a big drop from, I see that things are going a little bit better in 2018. And she would have found out that, yeah, my brother died last year. And it was, but the thing is it shouldn't be that long, guys. It shouldn't take years or even this year to go to compare to last year. We should be paying attention more closely. Here's the thing. Again, I always tell you guys, if you start now with your teams the size they are, and you pay attention and teach your teams to do the same thing, people are not going to be slipping through the cracks, okay? My sponsor doesn't look at those things. My sponsor doesn't pay attention what's going on from month to month with Jess, okay? So, but if she didn't know that something happened with me, which I don't think she did for the longest time, she could have found out by looking at my demographics and saying, okay, there's a significant amount of difference. Now, I'm going to tell you right here, the difference in September of 2018 to 2017, Jess got baptized in August. Jess got a life-changing experience. So I was starting to wake up again and starting to see my own worth again, that I can actually serve people. I can actually give something and offer something. But Jess had a lot of self-worth struggles during this time last year, and even leading up in 2018 to that point. Okay. I know you guys may not have ever looked at the demographics in that way. Maybe you've never even utilized them, right? But this can definitely tell a story. This can definitely tell a story. But we have to be reaching out to people and saying, I see that there's a story there, I just don't know it. And I'd love to hear about it if you'd like, if you're willing to share. Because here's the thing, guys. Remember I told you that, the business is a slam dunk, and it's usually the personal. It's not like I didn't know how to sponsor. It's not like I didn't know how to sell. It's not like I didn't know how to, lead a team or whatever, or do fundraisers or nothing. It was my mindset was not there. And there was a very specific reason. So I challenge all of you to start going through each and every one of your downline, even if you're not a director yet. You're their future director. I want you guys to start putting the hat on that I am their future director. When you start thinking that way, guess what's going to happen? You're going to become their director, because you're doing the things that directors do. You're going to find people that are struggling and they need somebody to connect with, and they may be struggling personally or with the business. It may simply just be the business before they check out and they're gone. There are several people, great stories, amazing women and men that say it's because of the connection that somebody reached out that their whole business and organizations turned around. If you guys know who Anna Hughes is, she was definitely a hobbyist, didn't look at her business at all, anything more than just providing the goods to people when she wanted to. But her upline kept reaching out consistently and finally said, okay, this chick is so consistent, maybe I should respond to her phone call. And she didn't realize she needed that connection. She's a very successful superstar director now. Very shortly after it, within that year, she promoted to a very successful director, star, and then superstar very, very fast, because she got that connection. That's such a hard fine line. I always tell people that what I do things brings me joy. Oh, you already read that. Sorry. Somebody, I'm behind on this. I'll be listening in the car. I'll pick up my little Nikki. Okay, future director. I like that. Yeah. So when I joined Janice, there was a training from Becca Levi. I think she took them down because she is basically basically retired. Her daughter runs the business for her, and she just does mentoring for like superstar directors and star directors and stuff. So I think because it kind of gives a misunderstood concept of having the trainings out there, and it makes people want to reach out to her and get coaching. Anyways, that's beside the point. Her training was treat your business like you are, what was it? I don't know what she said, but the concept is start doing the things that directors do now so you can become a director, basically. That was the gist. And when you're acting like the role that you want to be in, it's going to happen. It's just inevitable. Okay. All right. So we have little more than 15 minutes. I want you guys to write this down if you want the coaching model. And, our next week, we're actually going to practice it with each other. I'm going to put you guys in rooms, and you guys are going to do, I'm hoping that at least 4 people show up. So there'll be 2 people per room, and you're going to do coaching with each other. And one's going to be the coachee and one's going to be the coach. And then you're going to flip flop. And then we're going to talk about the experiences. All right. So the coach model, and it literally, it's an acronym, COACH. So the C is for current situation. So when you're doing coaching, you want them to tell you what their current situation is, because you may not know it. You may think their situation is a different one because all you see is numbers and statistics, but their current situation may have nothing to do with their challenge or whatever they want to talk to you about, may not have anything to do with that. So describe and explore data, feedback, and the coachee's perspective of the current reality. So like I said, they may think that something's going good or bad, and in your perspective, it's totally the opposite. They may think they're doing bad, but you're like, dang, this person's a rock star, but their self-worth is very low. So they think that what they're doing is not significant, and we need to find that out. Gain clarity on the current situation so that both coach and coachee are working from the same baseline. Okay, the reason why I want you to write this down, because it's going to be helpful for you to digest it. I will be posting it as well, but I still would love if you can to write it down. O is for objectives. Define the coach goals, desired results, and measurable objectives. So you want to know, what does this person desire the outcome of this coaching call? Because you may have one idea, but they have another. Or they may not know until you ask. One of the biggest reasons why coachings go way too long is because there's no real specific focus. I'm sure you guys have been on calls with team members, and it went all over the place, right? And you don't know how to kind of bring it back in and get to the point. So the A is for alternatives. And that's like your brainstorming between the two of you. Explore alternative approaches, identify what they've already tried, and brainstorm for how they could move forward. It's important that the coachee come up with these ideas on their own as much as possible. The reason behind that is because with experience, perfect example is when you try to mentor too much, you are putting yourself basically a target. You're putting yourself on the chopping block for when the results that happen for you doesn't happen, that you're putting yourself as a target of like, you told me if I do X, Y, Z, this would happen. It didn't. So you're the bad guy, basically. So you want them to come up with the most ideas, and you just support that. You support the ideas. And then also the reason why you want them to come up with the ideas is because they're going to be more willing to do them if they're the ones that come up with the ideas. And they're going to feel more, they're going to feel more confident. Yes, buy-in, yes. They're going to have more of a buy-in or a confidence that, that capable of doing something, because when they come up with the idea and then they achieve it, they get to pat themselves on the back. We don't want our teams. I know the leadership position can sometimes, as you grow your teams, maybe you've never been in a leadership position before and you've never been the person that led people, basically. And so you kind of may have a little bit, and I know this word may sound kind of inappropriate or harsh or whatever, but there might be still a little bit of an ego there that needs to be fed. We all have a portion of ego, no matter how humble you become and meek. There's still an ego that's always going to be there, and that's just from the human side of us that always feels less than. But we have to, as a good, strong leader, we need people to be feeling confident that they did the progress. It's because of their choices. We don't want them always, oh my gosh, it's because of Nina, I did this. It's because of Janice told me to do this. We don't want them praising us. We want them praising themselves, because that's going to keep them going. Because here's the thing, you're not going to be there. You're not going to be sitting next to them throughout their entire journey, right? They have to do their business on their own 99.9% of the time. So they need to have the confidence that they can do it by themselves, and they can come up with their own ideas as well. We are just there to cheer them on and support them, and even maybe clarify or maybe even confirm that you've been through that. It's valid. It's a valid concern. It's a valid idea. That makes sense. And then CH is for choices. Support the coachee as his or her makes choices for action. Help them create a smart action plan. All right, so here's the thing. The difference between coaching and mentoring. Mentoring is when there is a right answer. Okay? If somebody asks you, how do I promote to lead? There is a specific cut and dry qualifications. That's mentoring. Okay? But I still want you to coach them as well as saying, where can you find the compensation plan? They may not even know where they can find the compensation plan. Okay. You ask the question, maybe they do, that's mentoring. Okay, great. You already know where that is. Now, if you flip to the compensation plan, what does the compensation say that you qualifications? That may be where the problem is they don't, the structure of it is confusing to them. Even though it says lead, they don't know how to read the graph. So then now we need to mentor them and help them understand the graph. It may be very, very simple things. I know that sometimes it's like, okay, they're grown adults. How did they not figure this out? Most of you are natural go-getters and self-starters. So nobody had to tell you how to read the compensation plan. Nobody had to tell you how to get to lead. So, but we have to remember, you are a small percentage, okay? You are a very small percentage of the world as well as the company, that you don't need somebody holding your hand to understand things. But there is a higher percentage that do. So it's kind of like, I'm honestly, you guys, being a leader in the Scentsy world is kind of like being a mom, but you have to, in that concept. But we don't want to be mom by mentoring when we want to coach, right? There can be a mom, but there's moms that enable their kids, right? We want to be moms that know how to be self-sufficient, that their kids know how to be self-sufficient. We don't want to be moms that they don't know how to wipe their butt at 10 years old, right? We don't want to be moms that when they go off to college, they don't know how to run a dishwasher or a laundry machine, because they're going to have a lot of issues, right? We want to be moms that we teach them to be self-sufficient. One of the biggest things, you guys, that Scentsy taught me, and I was so grateful that I learned the lesson early on in my business, because my kids were infants when an infant and a toddler when I joined, is I teach them, because I was growing a business, I needed my kids to learn as much as possible so they didn't need me as much. So when they learned how to make breakfast for themselves, they learned how to get themselves dressed, they learned how to tie their shoes early, they learned how to do the basics. So when I was literally in my deepest depression and laying on the couch, My kids didn't go unfed, you guys. They know how to feed. They knew how to make themselves breakfast. They knew how to get themselves dressed. They knew what time they needed to leave for the latest time that they needed to get mom up to drive them to school. They were very self-sufficient. Now, does that sound kind of sad? Yes, it's absolutely sad. Is that the way that I want my babies having I mean, they weren't babies when that happened, but they were like 8 and 6. They were still young kids when that happened, right? But it was also a blessing that I taught them that, because they weren't not being fed, and they weren't getting their needs met. They were not getting their needs met when I wasn't able to be the mom that I wanted to be. Okay. So think about that, is if you aren't able to give them the answer or even connect with them or talk to them or whatever, do they have the tools in order to move forward in their business? Again, moving back, we've talked about this before. Teach them to fish, so they can eat for a lifetime, instead of giving them, throwing them a piece of fish for the day, because it's just going to feed them for the day. I literally just got off the phone with my doctor and I forgot to talk to her about my stuttering. I'm gonna have to make another phone call. My brain like glitches. It's weird. It's like I can't like get the word out or my thought out. It's really weird. Okay, so yeah, and then Cindy added, drive them to the well. Yes. There's a story that Orville Thompson provided on his keynote, I think in 2010. It was the year before I started, or no, it was 2009. It was the first actual big convention, and the commemorative warmer was the frog in the well. And I want you guys, or actually, I'm going to try to find it. I don't know if it's in this new workstation. It used to be in there. We used to be able to go under the tab and say prior reunions. We've been fighting for Orville to do that same keynote for the longest time, because that specific story is what helped me understand leadership. And I'll just really fast, because I literally have to leave in a couple minutes, but I want to share just the concept. There's frogs in a well, at the bottom of a well, right? There's a little bit of water down there, and then there's the long tube of the well, and they're looking up, and what they see light that a little bit, it comes down, and so that's the only light they see. They see a blue sky, and they're attracted to it. Like, wait a minute, there's something about the light. We're always attracted to the light. That's why we say we want to shine, angels of light, right? We have the ability to attract people that are in need to being added value to their lives in however ways that we can provide. And so one starts trying to climb the well, and he keeps getting further and further, and they're like, oh wow, he's getting pretty far up there. Let me keep trying. Let me try to follow him. And this initial frog gets to the top of the well, and he's like, yes, I did it. This is awesome. Oh my gosh, this is beautiful. Look at all these trees and these other species, birds flying, and the sun is so huge. I didn't know that it was so big and bright, and oh my gosh. And he's like, then all of a sudden he gets depressed. He's like, wait a minute, there's nobody to share this with. Like, all my friends are down there. Like, guys, come on, please, I want you to see this. And they're trying to climb, but then they fall down. And they're trying to find, and they fall down. So what is the point of the story is, right? It's lonely at the top. It's lonely at the top. And I could tell you that very, very experiences that, especially in the beginning of my business, when I was the only one trying to grow and receiving amazing things that Scentsy has to offer, it was exciting, but it was completely depressing, because what fun is that to not have other people experience the same thing, right? So we have to be reaching down and helping our team members try to come up, lending a hand and saying, no, I want you with me. So as we climb, instead of climbing to the top by yourself, you want to make sure that you have your team members alongside with you and not too far behind you, right? Because the true blessing and the true experience of what Scentsy can add value to your life is by watching others receiving and adding value to their lives. That's the absolute highest high you could ever feel and experience. Because again, human nature, we don't want to be alone. We need people to be around. That's where energy, we literally feed off each other. We have energy. We are literally like a battery. If what fuels and recharges our battery is other people. That's why I do these things, guys. I need to be around you guys. I need to be around like-minded people, and so do you. When you start to feel like your battery's dead, it's very likely you haven't connected in a long time to either somebody one-on-one or in this type of a powwow. I posted part of the keynote in Facebook, part of this shred. Thank you, Deans. Yay. I encourage you all to share it on your pages. You want your teams to understand that concept. Because when they realize that you're not in this just to achieve and receive by yourself, the sad part is, you guys, the unfortunately sad truth is society teaches people to think that only people that are above them, that they're only helping them get higher. They don't realize that this structure is completely different, that all of you guys can pass me up completely. Maybe not by title, but any one of you, all of you could grow a bigger organization than I do. Isn't that interesting? Yes, you'd be in my group, but I only get paid 3 generations down. You can end up having, 10,000 people, and I only get paid off of 3 generations. So I may have a team and a group that's actually being paid off of where I am right now, if nothing grows, which is just little over like 520, I think. That's the most we've ever had. But that's what you need people to understand, is that your brand new consultant can pass you up. You want them to know that. You want them to be confident of that, because you don't want them thinking that you're always going to be above them, and you don't want them to think of you ever as above them. So never talk about, oh, this person is, I'm above them, or below me. Those words are toxic. You don't want them to ever feel that way. You are alongside them, locking arms. Okay? All right. No, I have to go as well. So thank you guys. Bye, Cindy. Bye, Melissa. Oh, you're just saying bye to Cindy. But there's very specific verbiage that can literally poison your business. Join my team. She's below me. She's on my team. Well, on my team is logic. But you might want to say I'm not going to lie, I probably get guilty of saying that word because it's just easier to say, but we really want to think more clearly about our verbiage. In my, on the journey with me, in the Scentsy family, I know Melissa uses a lot. Oh, Nina just said that. Yeah, I use family. They need to feel a part of something. Okay, they can't feel that they're only helping you be successful. Because the reality is, guys, Becca Levi already had 15,000 people in her organization when I started. But now she had, and I could have said, oh, I'm never going to be able to, do anything in this business. I'm never going to compare to her. I could have said all times, I'm only making her successful or making her money. But if I had that mindset, I wouldn't be where I am today. Because honestly, that inspired me that one day I will have people in my organization, and again, the word my, but we're just speaking logically here, that are going to do exactly what I did and chose my own path and chose to excel. Yes, our team is also wonderful because you're including everybody. Absolutely. All right. I think I beat the horse over the head. Hopefully it made you guys think. Hopefully the structure is going to, whenever you're in a coaching call and you start to feel like it's going right, too much to the left, you can go back to your mentoring coaching model and reel it back in. So always have this structure in front of you when you are doing coaching. Okay. All right. Love you guys. Thank you for joining live or recorded. And I'll see you guys next week on our leadership. And remember, tonight is also 5 o'clock Pacific, our group call. Bye, guys.